Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Joy. My name is Moni Rodriguez. I'm an author, speaker, and a coach, and I help women around the world to ignite their inner power so they can live with more peace, passion, and joy. And today I'm so excited to welcome Mon to the episode today because we have a lot of things to share with you. Mon is an amazing soul. I have so strong connection with her message, and I'm looking forward to talk to you. So welcome, Mon. I would love you to introduce yourself and share a little bit about who you are and what you do with the people watching this.
Hi everybody, my name is Mon and I'm truly excited to be here. Very grateful for you having me here. To tell a little bit about myself, I consider myself to be a bit of a wanderer, storyteller, but also a creative, somebody who is very passionate about inspiring others to live a highly conscious and awakened life, full of abundance, joy, and authenticity, to allow yourself to pursue what truly sets your soul on fire without any judgment and any restrictions.
I love that. What else is there? You're about to say something else.
Well, I have been on a bit of a journey myself over the past 5 years. I have studied various healing modalities and consciousness, neuroscience, mainly initially sort of to help myself to get out of a huge depression I was in sort of 4 or 5 years ago. And when I really deeply struggled with my life, with my purpose, with my message, with who am I and what I genuinely want from my life. And I kind of embarked on this journey both around the world and most of all journey back to myself that has allowed me to explore my mind and my heart and really kind of find a whole new level of being that is so much more fulfilling that I never even knew was possible. So having been the full circle around my kind of awakening journey, I have a lot of stories and lessons that I would love to share with other people. And I'm kind of now in a process of really allowing myself to believe that what I have to say will help other people, that it's intended with love and intended with care. And I think we genuinely need more souls like this around the world to wake up and not be afraid to shine their light, because especially in these turbulent times with so much anxiety and fear in the world, it's even more important that we recognize the light within and are not afraid to shine it sort of onto the world, and really empower other people. But it starts with us, and I think this is where I'm finding myself at the moment, sort of learning to believe in myself a little bit more and not be sort of so afraid to speak about what I have in my heart that I hope will help other people. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I think it's very brave to step in as a sensitive person, because I completely agree with you. I love when you say set your soul on fire, and that brings me back to something about childhood and going back into your essence. And before I ask you about how to tap into those, I just wanted to, I didn't do it before in all the interviews, but I think I have this beautiful deck of the Flower of Life, and very recently I'm tapping more and more into oneness and the Flower of Life, and I feel because the energies are really shifting. One of the beautiful things about being sensitive is that we can sense not only what's going on in our bodies, and we need to be careful because we tap into other people's energy, even the earth, nature, and the whole universe. And one of the things I wanted to ask for today is, what's the message moving forward? Because you and I felt that this weekend was important in terms of energies, and I think other people who is in this community of light workers, we can sense there is a new shift coming for people who wants to step up and share what they believe in, even if sometimes we have felt alone in the past sharing our message. I think one important thing is to believe that we are not alone in the path, and that it's safe to speak up. And the card that I got is Love and Fear. It's beautiful because we have an image here, you see, and it's...
Oh, wow. It couldn't be more appropriate, actually, for how I feel right now.
Exactly, it's always on time. It's love and fear cannot exist in the same space or at the same time, as they are very different vibrations. And that's always a choice, fear or love. I don't see any other choice. So it says, if you are feeling like fear, imagine your breath in green or pink light and feel any fear or lower energies transforming into love. So it's also about being an alchemist, which is what I say I am. I'm an alchemist of joy, because I believe that we have the power to be aware of our energy and transmute it into something of service and love to others. So it says, now you are fully present, and in a vibration of love, you feel safe. What we are talking about, feeling safe, knowing exactly what to do in any circumstance or situation. This is now your reality. So we can change our reality. Say to yourself, I trust I am a channel of love and wisdom. My higher self will guide me at all times in all situations. Now that I know this, I can relax, have fun, and live my life present in each moment. So it's about presence, and it's about tapping into love and knowing that, you know, we are a channel of love and wisdom. And I believe everyone is that. It's just a choice that we have to make, and also overcoming any fears. I think that's the biggest challenge. And with that, I would like to say, because I know you have done amazing things in the past few years. I know how courageous you are. You're a sweet soul. You're a lovely woman, but also a very strong woman. And so you told me about childhood dreams and how you made a decision that it was time for you to go back to those dreams and make those dreams a reality. So I want to share your story. I want you to share your story. And when did you decide it's time for me to do everything I wanted to do, to be courageous and leave everything behind, kind of, sort of thing, because you did, and just travel the world. And with that, you got inspiration, you got creativity, you have built a business or two, and yeah, you have transformed your life, and you have learned so many lessons along the way. So I would like to hear your story and share with the people listening to this, because it's really amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I love what you've said about the love and the fear. The card truly couldn't be more appropriate to start the beginning of our talk, because that's how it all started for me. I kind of found myself working in this incredibly stressful, busy, hectic environment that I sort of took on the university studies and the jobs in my life because I felt the need to please other people, and it was all unconscious. Like, I remember growing up as a young girl, I was very sensitive, very creative, but I found myself in a family that didn't necessarily appreciate it or support it, and God bless their souls. I'm not sort of saying that negatively or judgmentally, just it was a reality. My beautiful mom and my dad did the best they could. They had sort of, I have two brothers and one sister, so we were a big family, living in a tiny town in Eastern Europe with very limited job opportunities. And so it was very hard for my parents to bring up a family, and they did their absolute best. So I'm by any means not criticizing anything they did or how they brought me up. If anything, I actually feel grateful for that now, because it and all those early childhood life experiences have enabled me to now evolve and become stronger and learn how to acknowledge my true heart desires within me, as opposed to kind of do something unconsciously to please other people. So to rewind back a little bit, so I found myself living in this family where who were very practical, very rational, driven by reason, and all of that is absolutely fine. But I knew that there was this creative spark within me that wanted to do other things. So I remember I would spend my days in a garden and drawing and painting, and my granddad was the biggest fan of my work. He would often come and teach me. He had actually an amazing talent for drawing, but sadly he too was never able to explore that and pursue that any further, because in his time, in his childhood and adult life, the times were even tougher than I've had it. So but still, despite the circumstances, I did push the buttons of my mom. I learned how to sew, how to make my own clothes. I was drawing and kind of designing my own clothes, and it used to drive my mom crazy because she was like, "They will never make you a living. Come on, you cannot be a fashion designer or a designer. You will never make any money from it. Go and study business." And give a better life to yourself. So I listened. I pursued what my parents deemed right for me, and even there, actually, all those years later, I'm so deeply grateful for that, because I found myself in a place where all those skills now I have highly valuable. So it kind of again reaffirms that we are always guided and supported in our life, and every universe always has your back and is teaching you things that will be beneficial and will enable you to ultimately one day be able to do your kind of live your life on your terms, if you only allow yourself to be guided and explore things and focus on the love versus the fear. So just to rewind, sort of like fast forward a few years, I've been working in a very stressful, highly corporate environment for the last 15, 16 years. And because I was so out of touch with my true path, with my true purpose, with my true heart's calling, and the creativity within me that wanted to be kind of wanted to come alive a bit more. I was sort of to give you an example, I've had jobs where I had to be very rational and just only use reason, maths, analytics and data, and all of that is good if that's your passion. But I knew deep down that wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I ultimately wanted to do. It didn't set my soul on fire, and it was just a means to an end, a way to earn money. And 15 years later, I found myself in this position where I was so out of touch with my true heart's calling that I was highly depressed. I was only focused on the never-ending to-do list, deadlines, sales targets, and things I have to do to survive. And I was constantly living in the fear that you've just mentioned in the past. Like, it was all about survival, all about making money, all about paying bills. And every 3 minutes I've had, I was so tired that I physically had nothing more in me to do anything else. But there was also sort of another element that I almost didn't know that I have a choice. I felt, I don't know if you can relate to this.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't know that there is another way of living, another way of being, because nobody ever told me, hold on, this is your life. You have the cards. If you can change it, but in a flick of a finger like that, if you only allow yourself to pursue what truly sort of resides in your heart.
I totally agree with you, and I resonate a lot because I spent 16 years in corporate, very male-dominated environment, technology. I love technology, and I'm thankful for the path, but I know that my path was not that since I was a child. And I think for me, what you mentioned about allowing is something that is in the old paradigm, that we by nature we were told that you should be following a concrete path, you should be doing this, and we have so many norms which are good for society to follow. I mean, the rules are fine, but it's more about following your own guidance as well. And sometimes I think because we have been told what's right and what's wrong based on some structures that are a bit obsolete, we thought we believed. So for me, it's all about what we believe is true or not. And our own beliefs is what limit us and keep us in fear as well. So the allowance, for me, it's being open to other realities, other possibilities, other paradigms. Like we are moving now. I think like some people like you and I, we can see the paradigm because we allowed our heart to open. We allowed our world to expand because we expanded our own reality. We can see another reality. So the allowance, I would like to know, when did you actually wake up? Because that means that you were not aware there was something else, but at some moment you awoken or you allowed yourself to believe. So is there anything that you did, or was it anything in particular that wake you up? Or it's like you were so fed up? Because for me, I was so fed up with the stress and overwhelm that one day I experienced an anxiety attack in an airplane. And that day I decided, like, you know, I'm not doing what my heart really wants to do. I'm not serving the purpose that I want to serve, and I'm not. I'm chasing all the time something. I'm not just being. And that moment for me was crucial because my health, and sometimes it's a health issue, or sometimes it's a specific moment, but sometimes it's just a moment that happens after a lot of pain. So what it was for you that made the difference to allow yourself, and what would you say to people to shortcut their journey to awaken? Because I believe that we are here to support people also to shortcut, because I don't think everyone needs to go. I want to avoid the pain for people, like to go into anxiety, depression, or things like that, and just go straight to that path. So I don't know if you can give us some advice or tips or inspiration on your own particular journey, and what you will tell to someone that is considering, like, oh, maybe there is something else, but I'm scared, or well, it's too good to be true, you know, because sometimes we feel, oh, you cannot make a living because your parents told you cannot make a living with this, or you will never be successful like that, or all these voices in your head that other people put in some way or another. So what would you say that made the big difference, and what would you tell people that they can do?
Sure, I won't go into the full story, but there is, I will share a nugget of what happened for me. I wish I could say it was all easy, and one day I woke up and I realized that I'm free, I have a choice, and suddenly I'm living the life of my dreams. I wish. Well, the truth was very different, and to be honest, the early part of it was quite brutal and very painful. I was massively inspired by a person who came into my life out of the blue. It was a colleague of mine and who became friend later, called Carl, who I've seen pursuing photography as a passion of his, and we kind of started working together, and I've seen this guy starting a business from scratch that genuinely set his soul on fire. He was really passionate about it, and I kind of wanted to do everything in my power to support him and his dream, and then the whole journey, that it really woke me up. Like, if he can do it, what else can I allow myself to have? And it wasn't a competition or a comparison by any means. It was more the awakening that we have a choice, that we have the power in our hands to create the life of our dreams. He started with nothing. He had to learn the whole craft or art of photography from scratch, and I think his journey really inspired me so much to look at my own life and see where I'm holding myself back, what I am, the job I am in, or how I live my life. Is it truly fulfilling for me? And I sort of started asking myself these questions, and started sort of analyzing my life. Quite a lot of it I felt was pushed onto me because 4 years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of entered this dark night of the soul where literally my entire life, like sort of was shaken and broken to a point of no recognition. So relationships suffering, and obviously work, I no longer found it enjoyable or meaningful or valuable.
Dark night of the soul you mentioned. So we had a slight interruption, like all these beautiful days with the energies. And I would like to go back to what you mentioned on the dark night of the soul, that everything was falling apart. And yes, if there was a specific thing that brought you into that moment where you already felt that you were ready to step up and take that courage and really allow yourself to do those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So the dark night of the soul is really not an easy journey to go through, because you will literally awaken and you will be faced with your darkest fears, with your deepest fears, with your deepest wounds that you didn't even know consciously you had. And the same happened with me. I started evaluating how I live my life, how I work, how I earn money, whether I'm allowing myself to pursue what I'm truly passionate about, or and where in my life I'm holding myself back. It wasn't an easy ride, I tell you that. And being already highly depressed, how I was sort of 4 or 5 years ago, didn't help in the process. But at the same time, something really beautiful happened. I kind of, during the whole sort of awakening journey, you realize that you are your own creator, that there is nobody else in the world who can help you to achieve something or have something if you're not gonna, other than you. So you are the creator. You're creating your reality with your thoughts, with your feelings, with your daily intentions and actions. And for me, I began exploring that whole sort of arena of what it means to truly live an awakened life, to call my own shots, make my own choices, and pursue what I really desire to have in my life, what I desire to do. And it has sort of pushed me as far as kind of me resigning from my job, and for the first time in my life, allowing myself to pursue something that was truly valuable for me. I remember when I was a little child, I grew up in a very poor family, so I'm from a very humble beginnings. My family didn't have much money to sort of take us on expensive luxury holidays, but they've had something that I find is often lacking in this world. They've had imagination, despite the fact that work-wise they try to keep everything very rational, very rigid, very sort of safe and reason and rational and numbers and math, business, data. But outside of that, we've had a bit of, they allowed us to play and dream in the sense, and wonder in the sense of kind of, or summer holidays were filled with us camping and sort of trekking through the mountains. My dad would load us up on a train, and we went exploring around the ancient castles and you know, swimming in lakes and hiking, and none of that cost any money. But what was the most magical about those experiences was the ability to connect with two things: connect with my inner sort of world of imagination and exploring and sense of curiosity, sort of exploring the nature around me, the castles and the history, and secondly, connect with one another. So I really cherish the moments spent by the campfire, sort of looking at the stars, and my brother playing a guitar and all of us singing around the fire. So, or kind of watching the sunsets at the top of the mountain, swimming in a freezing lake, and we were kind of chasing each other with my brothers and sister and my dad. And those for me were the most cherished memories that had really enabled me to tap into my own sense of wonder and curiosity and creativity, that I almost forgotten, I almost lost
Mm.
in my adult life, because I was so focused on survival, on earning money, on providing for the family, on paying the bills and being at work on time and fulfilling all of the million tasks on my to-do list. It was all about do, as opposed to just be. And then you travel. That's why I love travel so much, because when you do allow yourself to travel, and especially if you travel solo, you kind of allow yourself to just be and go with the flow, and sort of tap into that never-ending source of wonder, and creativity within you, and curiosity. You know, or should I sort of go and explore this or that, and you let yourself sort of be pulled in a direction that you find most exciting. It's not, there is no control. You don't have to be anywhere at any specific time. You're just going with the flow. And for me, kind of being in that heavy corporate environment, very controlled environment, where I was always living for the future. What's on my plan? What's on my to-do list? What's on my targets? What do I have to do tomorrow? What meetings do I have to? It was just never-ending roller coaster of kind of constantly chasing this invisible tail of some sort of deemed success that has never given me any pleasure. So when I finally allowed myself to just be and go with the flow, it felt like this sort of world of tension and heaviness and pressure and expectations just fell off my shoulders, and I was allowed to just be myself. And that was the most beautiful sort of lesson and moment that I've discovered on my travels, going with the flow. I mean, to be really fair, initially it was really scary, because I found myself being very naked, like without all those responsibilities and million to-do lists and workload and deadlines and meetings. Suddenly you're on your own, and you have to find something within you to entertain yourself, to amuse yourself, to find something that you kind of can connect to within. And it was a bit scary at the beginning, but you kind of, like with anything, you develop this relationship with intuition, with curiosity and trusting that I sort of almost forgotten. So it was really valuable for me. Yeah.
I love it, and I so resonate with this, and I feel like what you described is what I feel much of the people nowadays with the technology is disconnected, and we are doing all the time. So it's always something to do, following like a target, a project, and that's one of the biggest reasons we are disconnected, because we are not living in the moment. As you say, we are always, either some people is stuck in the past on what it was, and what the lack mentality of what I don't have. And I think it's good to have a vision for the future for me. So I think looking at the future with a big vision is good, but not always living for the future, because then we are not in connection. We are not connected with what's happening around. And I think what you just described about pleasure, joy, passion, and allowing yourself to flow, it's much more like what we were doing when we were children. And you are describing that you allowed yourself back into those childhood memories and to explore. And for me, that's all about what I believe and what I live more and more every day in my life, because I'm very childish, and I believe that I allow myself to just play and explore and enjoy and have passion. And I think maybe in the corporate environment we can bring that as well. So I know there are companies that are bringing more into balance certain things, but what I believe is going back to nature. For instance, you mentioned nature, and I think with all this technology as well, what nature allows you is to recharge your batteries and really tapping into our true nature, because we are not disconnected from the earth. If we think we are disconnected from this planet, the animals and the rest of humans, I think that's where most of the struggle is, because we feel lonely. That's why many depressions are. You say that at some point you felt naked, because we have this concept of maybe being exposed or being lonely or being alone in our journey, but that's an illusion as well, because I believe that when we tap into nature, we get more connected to who we truly are. We see more and more that we are not disconnected, that we are not separate from this. And then you start to also connect more with other human beings and start just being and being authentic. And when you say naked, it's exactly how you feel before you tap into authenticity. And that's what I experience myself, because being vulnerable equal being naked. It's not easy, you know, and I think it's also about being expressive about what we truly feel all the time for others. And I, you know, very recently I've been tapping more and more into that authenticity and vulnerability and saying people what I feel, because I think another biggest challenge is that people don't really think that they are allowed to express their emotions, especially in men, but also in women. We are this control, you know, you mentioned about control, and we are not expanded. They were not expansive. When you are in joy, pleasure, you feel expansive because you don't feel that you need to hide anymore. So it's again being away from that fear, and you were able to overcome that very beautifully. So in terms of nature, I know you love nature. I know you tap into nature, and that was part of your journey. But would you like to say something about nature? Because it's something that I feel recently with all these things that are happening in Mother Earth, and that will keep happening definitely. Would you like to say something to people who might be disconnected from nature and what it represents for you in your daily life and in your true nature as a human being?
Absolutely. I would like to share a bit of a story. So I remember when I traveled across Asia and Indonesia, and my big dream was always to study with Buddhist monks. I see Buddhism as probably the only religion or mindset where, and I'm not sort of condoning or disregarding any other religions, please don't take it. I sort of support whatever you wish to believe. I support you 100%. But for me personally, I felt that Buddhism was one of those very open-minded religions that focused, instead of focusing on comparing sort of ourselves to other people, or judging ourselves, or sort of being prosecuted or prohibited or having to abide with certain restrictions. Instead, they focus on the mindset, empowerment, and being connected to one another, the whole oneness, and also compassion, deepest compassion for all living beings, and that includes nature. We are, at the end of the day, we are part of nature. We don't own nature.
Yes.
We are part of nature, and something that I find incredibly sort of beautiful is how nature is always able to take care of us, meaning that always gives to us, but we don't often give back to it, in the sense we don't often look after it the way we should. And it stems from this never-ending greed and kind of competition that is so deeply ingrained in our society, that I feel is really hurting us. And if we don't do something about it now, while we still have the opportunity, it will hurt us even more, because the nature is our only home on this planet we'll ever have. Is our only source of food, or or shelter, of source of safety, and but also abundance, that can fill us with so much joy, like at the flick of a finger, just looking at the sunset. Imagine how beautiful you feel. Or being, it's actually scientifically proven that being by the seaside instantly lifts your vibration, so you and soothes you, so you feel more, you feel calmer. If you suffer from anxiety or depression, being by the sea is one of the most glorious thing you can do, to simply sort of rest and relax and listen to the waves crashing against the shore. It has this incredibly beautiful effect on all of us, because we are deeply connected to it. It's part of us. It's undeniable truth. It's part of us. And I love how a lot of the ancient tribes, so one of the very few ancient tribes in Latin America, in some of the Pacific Islands, they found a way to live in harmony with the nature, which I would love to bring more of into this world, the Western world, where I feel a lot of us have forgotten to live in harmony with the nature and feel the abundance of the nature within, which is another sort of incredible point. So in my personal journey, I remember right at the very beginning, I was sort of on my journey. I started in Thailand, and I was so highly depressed. I almost lost the will to live. I was going to all these beautiful places, but nothing could excite me anymore. And I didn't know why. And I had this dream to study with Buddhist monks. It was a calling of mine. It was something within me that sort of pushed me to explore there. And so I landed in Chiang Mai, and sort of went to the local, sort of one of the monasteries, and agreed a few sessions with the monks, and stayed with them for a couple of weeks. And I was so deeply depressed that by that point, nothing nobody would ever say could. I felt that it's not going to do anything. That I am so lost and so like not knowing who I am and what I want from my life. That nothing nobody will ever say will ever do anything to me. But it kind of blew my mind when I sat down with one of the monks, and he started the lesson or the session with me by asking me what I'm grateful for right now. And I kind of looked at him strangely, thinking, well, and then in my thinking rational mind, I kind of started naming things that I'm really, well, of course I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my job, I'm grateful for my health, and blah blah blah. But I was just reciting it without any feeling of true gratitude for it in my heart, because I was so disconnected from the present that I didn't see any value in it. And then I stopped, I ran out of things to say, and he asked me, what about you? And I'm like, what do you mean, what about me? And he was like, well, you didn't mention you. Are you not grateful for yourself? And that got me really thinking, because nobody ever said to me, well, are you grateful for yourself, or why are you not grateful for yourself? Like it's just such an alien concept to me at the time that it really sort of shook me to my core. And I started thinking about it, and it made a lot of sense. And what followed on from many sessions I've had and many lessons with the Buddhist monks was one of the most powerful transformative lessons I've ever had in my entire life. And that was being grateful, learning to be grateful for the present moment, for everything I am, everything I have in my life right now. Because like I was coming from an environment that was so focused on chasing the future, my sales targets, my goals, my meetings, my deadlines, that I never appreciated what's standing right in front of me, who I am as a person, what I've got to give to the world that is valuable and meaningful. And that one simple question, what about me? What about now? Has just changed everything for me. And I really, if I could give one piece of advice to people out there, um, people who are really depressed or anxious or scared about the future, I would love you to really drop from your head into your heart, place your hand on your heart, and thank yourself for being here, for having this tremendous opportunity of being human, living in this lifetime, living in this highly abundant and joyous and prosperous world that we live in. But a lot of people forget to see it. They sort of they are so focused on what they don't have, then and they forget to appreciate what they do have right now. So right now, there is no day that goes by that I wouldn't wake up and at least twice a day, every morning and evening, I give gratitude for myself, for my beautiful husband, for the lovely friends and people and beautiful souls I've met on my journey, who really taught me a lot, who empowered me and inspired me to aim higher and be more truth to myself and seek the truth in the world. And it really changes you, because as you've said earlier, you cannot be in fear and in gratitude at the same time. So the minute you move into gratitude, you're elevating in energy, and it just changes you instantly. And the connection to the nature, for me, like I remember sitting on those beaches in Thailand, so highly depressed, and I almost lost the will to live. But there was one thing that saved me, the sun coming down, and for a minute I stopped and thought about those words of the Buddha monk, and thought, well, wow, the sunset is truly beautiful. And I started connecting with it slowly, and each day more and more appreciating what I have right in front of me, including myself. And that has like transformed me beyond recognition. It became a way of life, way of looking at the world, way of feeling and thinking that I already am abundant, and all the abundance that I will ever seek in the world is already inside of me. There is a beautiful quote by Rumi, who I absolutely adore, who says that you're never alone in the universe. The whole universe resides inside of you. You are the whole universe. And it's just so incredibly profound and very true.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think for me, what you say about tapping into the heart, and you see the moment you say it, I brought the awareness, not only for me, which is, again, I think it was a very beautiful moment and experience, what you experienced, and the realization of how many times we forgive others, or we love others, or we give to others, or we are grateful for others. But another thing is to realize that in order to give, we always need to remember, like when you are in the I like this analogy of you are in the airplane and they say you put your first the mask for yourself and then for everyone else. And I think it's the same with gratitude. It's very beautiful what he told you, because we think always that the reason that we will be happy or we will achieve something is because someone else going outside, when actually I got a deep understanding of that, because for me we are all one, even if we have this individual essence and creative power, which is our unique expression. At the same time, we are all one, and we are part of the universe, and the universe resides in the heart. And I think what is beautiful to realize is that we have the power always to switch in that second or that moment where we are tapping into too much into our heads. We can always go back to the heart and ask ourselves, am I being, or am I doing, or what's my truth? What's my truth? Where is my center? And who am I in this moment and time? Because you say very well that at some point you didn't know who you were, but maybe you've forgotten, but we truly know who we are when we tap back home. And for me, home is the heart. And more I feel like healing the heart is very important, because we have a lot of programming from the past, and sometimes we are told that, for me, I have always followed my heart. I don't know any other way. And it's kind of bold and foolish, but I know the truth. Every time I follow my heart, I get a blessing. I get more insights. I get into my destiny. And that's a beautiful moment. Maybe sometimes you need to go back to nature to connect to the heart. But we have the power to bring back that harmony. You mentioned about harmony as well. And I think we want peace in the world, and I think we want to achieve peace or balance unless we find that balance within ourselves first, and we are able to inspire others with our own change. I believe, you know, when you go and decide to take a chance and follow your dreams or your childhood dreams, and you go and travel the world, or you dare to speak in front of a camera and share your beautiful soul, or any other thing, you inspire others to do the same. And I think that's how we can really change the world, one person at a time, one change at a time. And with that, I want to, because I will be talking to you all my life, you know that, and we will go to a park and probably do more of this. But I want to share with people, really, because you are such a creative soul, and you have so many projects, and obviously you have your business as well with beautiful jewelry, which I want people to look at, because I have this beautiful necklace which is all about love. We were talking about heart, you know, and it has protection and the heart chakra is really important for everything, to guide you in your life and also to give self-love. So this is really powerful. It's a rose quartz. And so what would you like to share with people just to get to know you, to contact you, and what can they get from you in a way that they connect more with your job and where you are going, and just get your beautiful products in their hands?
Oh, thank you so much. So I've mentioned that the jewelry business was the very first stepping stone into me sort of believing in myself, that I can truly pursue something I'm really passionate about. I am very passionate about gemstones, sort of natural raw crystals that I create sort of necklaces and bracelets from there. It gives me a lot of joy. I do it with love, and I have an Etsy shop and a website now where people can find all about the beautiful energy and how you can use the power of the crystals to program them and help you even manifest things in your life, because they do. It is scientifically proven that they do carry energy. I mean, at the end of the day, we make watches from crystals, we make computer chips and other things from crystals. They do carry energy, and different crystals are able to help you to heal and balance the different chakras in your body, the energetic centers in your body. You've mentioned the heart chakra. I would also, especially for women, focus on healing your root chakra, which is linked to our safety, security, or safety to speak our truth, to be who we are, to feel safe, to pursue what truly sets our soul on fire. It's linked to money as well, and kind of earning money from the pursuits that we really enjoy. And that's exactly what happened with me. Like, I kind of started creating the jewelry with the intention to give this beautiful energy out to others and enjoy it as much as I do. And for these little gorgeous sparkly treasures to sort of help you to create something, manifest something in your life that really speaks to you, that is meaningful, but also on an energetic level to help you to heal and unblock any energetic sort of blockages you might have in the different settings. Another setting that is really powerful to work on is the solar plexus chakras, which is a power center, really, or power center in our body. And a lot of the women in the past, we all know, have been suppressed, have been criticized for their bodies and their looks and their age and million and one other things. And this constant attack on your being creates sort of imbalances in your energetic body, creates fear again, that we've talked about earlier, that is sort of just so important to be aware of and learn how to reprogram that, to fully be able to step into power and pursue what is truly meaningful to us, what empowers and inspires us, but also, and most of all, what inspires and empowers other people. Because only when we learn to give to others, we are acknowledging our own worth and value. I really believe that, because we would only give to others what we, if you're truly connected to your heart, I believe that you only give to others what you truly wish to deserve yourself. So what I mean by that, you don't go out hurting other people and kind of feel resentful or kind of hurt by other people. And then you create more of that, more of hurt and more of resentment. You sort of, even when somebody hurts you, you're able to bless them, and you're able to lift your vibrations and heal yourself and start acknowledging these things within your own being. And when you get to that level of consciousness, like, you're living a very different life. So that's what I hope to inspire, the change in the world, the self-empowerment and healing, and kind of be able to start on this journey that is so much more fulfilling and enriching that the old way of life kind of ever used to be. My dream is to my ultimate big goal is to create consciousness documentaries and films that I really, really dream about. And I feel that I am sort of preparing myself. Travel is a huge passion of mine, and I do want to continue doing that. I do want to continue, but I do want to combine that with my knowledge of consciousness and mindset transformation, and really be able to learn from people around the world what they do already really well, that works in their societies, that where they work in harmony with the nature, where they have got the balance right between giving and receiving, and really cherish those values, and how we can bring more of that into the Western world. I really feel that this is my purpose, it's my calling, and I genuinely want to start creating more of my own talks and even finish the book that I'm writing from my journeys, that will hopefully inspire people to live a more awakened and authentic life in harmony with the nature.
That's beautiful. So many alignment with the vision of the new world. And I like what you say about traveling and experiencing different cultures. I do love that, and I've been lucky and fortunate to travel around many beautiful countries. And I also resonate with you. I'm going to do it more and more, because I feel like because we are all one, but we have our own individuality as nations as well. We can learn from each other and learn what works or not works, and where we are probably out of balance, and where other cultures are more balanced. And within our individuality, we can share and learn with each other. And I'm looking forward to read your book. So do you have any dates in mind, or what I would like you to tell us is where people can find you, like your website or your shop. I will put the links below, but I would like you to share how people can reach you, and maybe also they are open to collaboration as well. As you know, we are not alone. As you mentioned, we are all a bunch of people willing to bring consciousness to the world. So how people can contact you and reach your beautiful projects?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for asking. I do have a website called mongrace.com, where I currently sort of feature some of my blogs and videos and consciousness sort of articles around self-empowerment. And I also have an Etsy shop called the same name, Mon Grace, where you can find all these little glittery treasures. If that's what you'd like to explore, feel free to visit me. I will be grateful to assist you and serve you. And with regards to the book, it's a bit of a long journey. I've kind of finished it and I was almost ready to publish it last year, but there was something within me that didn't feel ready. And I felt that the book is missing a big chunk of a story that I left out. So I've been working on including that this year, and I've got a deadline to finalize and publish it by end of October. So I aim for it to be out in the market this Christmas, and I am really thrilled.
I'm so excited for you. I'm looking forward, and obviously I will share the link, update the interview with the link of the book. I'm so grateful, as you know, to have you here. I love you, like your soul, your mission, or your energy is so aligned with mine, and also I feel like we need to really bring that awareness that we are not alone, that we are definitely in a path together to a new world where we can collaborate more, we can bring more love, we can go back to nature. I love what you said about kind of going back to those times where we were more connected with nature, necessarily not cutting off technology, but it's important. Like, I think some of the values that we had before, we have lost with the technology. And I think now is the time to use the technology wisely, like this, using the technology to connect with people from everywhere in the world, to connect with people from different cultures, backgrounds, and to realize that we are all the same. We are all willing love, peace, passion, purpose. It doesn't matter you live in China, you live in Russia, you live in Germany, or Spain, or Catalonia, or anywhere. I think it's more about realizing that at the core of our being, we are souls, we are humans. We want to explore the world, ourselves, and we have two choices, which is love and fear. So which one are you going to choose? Are you going to step up and go for your dreams, tap into your childhood and become free? Because for me, my vision is where everyone is free to express who they are, with respect, with love and collaboration and kindness. Compassion is a big element as well, where you have compassion for yourself, and then you are able to bring that compassion to the world, and in a way really allow yourself to be truly free, because you are out of judgment. Once you tap into unconditional love, compassion, all this vibration, gratitude, you are out of that fear that what people is going to say about me, or people is going to judge me. Unless we judge ourselves, we won't be free from judgment of others. And for me, that has been the biggest lesson. And that's why I want everyone in this world to share the truth, especially people who is hiding behind the scenes, you know, that they fear that people will point at the finger and that they are alone. That's an illusion. We are all together in this. And with that, thank you so much, Moni. I'm so grateful for having you here. And I call it Moni because we are both Monikas. You are Mon. Yeah, joy and love. But any final words that you would like to share with people before we finish?
I just would like to thank you for having me. Thank you for being such a beautiful soul who truly honors everybody else is around you and is not afraid to shine. You truly have inspired me, and I'm sure you have and will inspire millions of people out there, because it is a gift, and you're not afraid to share it, and it's just so beautiful to see you shine. And I really believe that people like you and I, once we fully kind of start tapping into that power and allowing yourself to be who we really are, really at the core of our being, because I don't think we have even scratched the surface with regards to our full potential. I really believe that we can and we will transform this world to be a better place on earth for all of us. I'm highly resonate with the love and freedom you so eagerly want everybody else to feel and have in their lives. It really speaks to me. And I would love to encourage other people to start recognizing sort of their own truth, start tapping into it, and choose fear over and above. Sorry, choose love over and above all the fear that goes on in the media, around the politics and many other subjects that really drag you down. Start watching the energy, what lifts you and gives you joy on a daily basis. Dial it up, pursue more of that versus what is it that dampen your mood? Because even a conscious individual like myself, I've sometimes found myself a little bit addicted to the Facebook and social media and this and that. But I also found that it can have a very, very negative impact on me if I stop watching it and let it sort of run itself on autopilot without my conscious awareness. So I really feel consciousness, gratitude for the present, and courage to pursue what sets your souls on fire is really the way forward. So thank you to you and to all of your audience, to all of your listeners for having me today. I feel really grateful to have had this opportunity to speak with you today. And I wish everybody a lot of joy, abundance, and freedom and happiness in their lives, because we truly deserve the best, all of us. And we are only free when we allow ourselves to have it.
Yes, beautiful ending. And I love you so much, Mon, and I look forward to see you in person. Thank you so much, and I see you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Namaste.
Namaste,
Bye.
my love.